my past hard work has led me up to where I could put down 60 grand on a property. And this property, it was 280,000. And the people, the owners of the property didn't want to do it anymore. And partly, I don't know what was going on. Sometimes there's issues within the 4 or 5 partnerships, whatever there is in the property. So finding those deals is huge to be able to get a good deal.
Welcome to the House Hacking Success Podcast, where you'll learn the path to free rent and financial freedom through real estate. Featuring your hosts, Brad Labrie and Drew Klingler.
Welcome to the House Hacking Success Podcast. My name is Brad, here with my co-host Drew.
How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing amazing, man.
Good.
And today we had Wesley Denny on the podcast. He house hacked his way through college for free, even got paid to do it. He had his food for free, and he's going to teach you, the listener, how you can do it too with creative financing and his knowledge from becoming an agent to starting his own brokerage, Denny Real Estate, to becoming a commercial real estate investor. He's got a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, he has a very ambitious goal of reaching $150 million in real estate. He's a hard worker. I'm sure he'll reach that goal. He's been working very hard since he was in college. Wesley surrounded himself with very smart people. He really focuses on getting mentorship from those people, and he's very good at networking and building a strong team.
Absolutely. He's taught me so much on a personal level. He's a great friend of mine. I can't wait for you guys to learn some of this wealth of knowledge today.
Yep, it's a great episode.
Without further ado, here's Wes.
Hey everyone, real quick before we start the show, Brad wrote an amazing ebook that will teach you everything you need to know about house hacking and living rent-free. To get a free copy, text Househack, all one word, to 22828. That's Househack, all one word, to 22828.
Welcome to the show, Wesley. We appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome. And for the listeners that don't know your story, you want to give us a little background on who you are and what you're going to provide today?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I'm excited to get into real estate, but I didn't start out that way. I actually started doing construction. And so I got my, it's kind of funny where I ended up and where I came from, because my uncle owned a construction company. I worked for him for 10 years, roughly. And, I drove truck. I had my CDL. I was machine operators, sales guy, mechanics assistant. And I took over a lot of different stuff. So I wasn't just assistant. So anything that they really needed or had trouble with, I was the guy to go and kind of do that. But with that, it kind of helped me get the motivation to be like Mom, because he's gotten in real estate investments. And so I love the real estate side. I never thought I was going to become a realtor. And I loved just being able to house hack. I loved being able to just get rentals and have enough income where I don't have to, if I don't have to work or want to work, I don't have to. I can just go down to Mexico or wherever I want to do on vacation. And so with that, my uncle actually introduced me to a real estate broker, and where he said, dude, you need to get your real estate license, because this broker, he's willing to train you. And the funny thing is, I got my license, and then I started working for him. 3 months later, he passed away. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to learn from him, gain his contacts, is how he was wanting to do for me. But I got my license, so I really learned the hard way. And my uncle and my dad, everybody helped me. And my dad's in the law industry, so he was able to help me a little bit. And with that, I got my license and worked hard at the commercial side, and then ended up getting into the residential. And then and here I am now, got my broker's license, and it's been great.
That's awesome, man.
That's great. So we know you were a house hacker in college. What was the process like house hacking? Like during college, how did you get into it? Who were your roommates? Who were you renting the rooms out to?
Yeah, no, that's great questions. And a lot of people, when I told them what I did and how I did it, they're like, "Well, that it's that easy." Yeah, it is. If you have if you have family, friends, and people that are actually helping you and kind of supporting you, that is the biggest thing that you can have as an investor, as a early on investor, because it's hard, your emotions and everything. But I did rent in college. I bought my first home when I was 19 years old, and I looked at the cost of going to college compared to what it costed to go to college with a room, and uh, it was ridiculously high cost to rent a room on campus. So I bought a house. It was a small house, 930 square feet, with a two-car garage. And so I bought the house, and my dad had to co-sign for me, but I had the down payment. He's never given me money for this house, but he had to co-sign because I didn't really have the income that I needed to be able to purchase. So he was able to co-sign for me and get that loan. But I was in an area or time where they actually gave a 10% rebate when you bought the house. So whatever I paid for the house, it was 62,500, and I actually got $6,200 back from the government because I bought my first home.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so I bought it as a house, a homestead. So I lived there, and so they wanted people to buy their first home, so they gave people 10% back, and that covered my down payment. It covered a lot, really, over a year's worth of almost a year's worth of mortgage.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So,
Now,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Now, a lot of the objections that people have going forward, especially being that young, is the financing. You talked a little bit about that. How were you able to approach the bank, and how were you able to get a cosigner, which a lot of people have the ability to do? What was that process like, getting the financing for the place?
So it was a little bit difficult just dealing with another person, just because of my mom and dad. Their finances are on I guess hold, or they had to give up some of that debt to be able to give to me, because of debt to income. If you want to buy something else, they have to look at what else they own. And so just the process of me getting all my W-2s, everything over to the bank, while I was doing construction, was one of the most difficult parts. So
I can imagine.
it wasn't anything else. It was just finding the right home, which was literally right across the street from uh, the campus, and it really helped me a lot because I could get to campus within 5-10 minutes, and I was on campus in class.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so what did those numbers sort of look like for you? You're house hacking now. You're 19 years old, which is unheard of, right? No one buys a home at 19, which is awesome, and a kudos to who you are. But like, what did those numbers look like? Like, you had a 900 square foot home. Were you able to cash flow a little bit, or were you break even? Like, what was that? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so it there was a lot of college students. They're always looking to get off campus, and I had a 3-bedroom, 1-bath or 2-bath house. I had a basement, and so what I did was actually post on Facebook and on any boards in college saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a roommate," and the people are willing to get or give up about 300 to 350 a month to live in a bedroom in a house. So you have roommates and stuff that pay you 3 to 350 a month, and so I roughly, most of the time throughout college, I had about 2 to 3 roommates. So I was making $600 to $900 a month to $1,000 a month just on I think it was $580 a month mortgage payment with all my escrow.
That's amazing.
That's really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
In college, while you're getting a degree, that's amazing, man.
In college, and then just picking up the right roommates. My one roommate was a culinary student, or going to be a culinary student, and he worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. So he brought home a bunch of food. And as a college student, free food was amazing.
I
You
bet.
always had free food, but hey, it's just like running into that. It was kind of happenstance, but it was cool.
So, how was the process of becoming a real estate agent, and how has it benefited you?
So yeah, that's it's something that investors should definitely look at when getting their when looking into getting their real estate license or making money. So it's helped me in the process of even just like buying properties and getting to learn all the knowledge of other realtors in the area, because you're always dealing with them. And so the process was very easy for me, but being able to make that 3%, 3 to 6%, seven, what depending on the property, back on every sale, it made sense. So when I bought my personal home, that I actually paid about, it was like 120,000. It's probably worth about 190, and I put 20,000 into it. And that I got 3% back, and I paid off my down payment. So
It's
really, I
amazing.
got into
Yeah.
the house with
Really
zero
cool
down.
strategy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's twice now that you've been able to get into properties for essentially zero down, because you
Yeah.
were able to use essentially creative financing,
Yeah.
finding ways around it.
Yep.
Now I know that you're a broker because I am one of your agents. What was that process like? I mean, you've always had a knack for finding unique situations. We just talked about your creative financing and your niche for that. Becoming a broker obviously gives you residual income that you've been on a quest for. What was that process like becoming it, and what has that allowed you to do?
It's hard. Just if you're busy all the time and you don't have the time to go to class, that's the big thing. And then taking the exam and really realizing, hey, you have to take 90 hours of class. It's not college credits, it's 90 hours of class. You have to take that, and then you have to take an exam. But I'm not that person that goes into a class and just learns like that, like super quick. I am not that book smart guy to go into a room and pretty much remember everything that they taught. But it was really hard for me to go in there and learn and actually get it in my head to remember. So I mean, it didn't take me the first time to pass the class or the exam, but it happened. And now, I mean, nobody really cares. Hey, you failed it once.
And
You failed it.
and a lot of times failure is sort of the costs of becoming successful, right?
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
Yep.
And I know how well you've done as a broker so far, and it's super cool to be a part of your team and watch the growth that you guys have had.
Yeah, well, thank you. And with the team part, it's huge to have that that business brokerage for accounting purposes. Obviously talk to an accountant or whatever about that, but being able to have that the business be the broker, and then just put all your finances through the brokerage, so that the company, the LLC or the corporation, and put all the money through there to be able to get better tax benefits.
That's
And
amazing. That's
so
amazing.
yeah, that's one of the big
Now utilizing, your mindset now, being an agent and a broker for a long time, and house hacking in college, merging those two together. What would you say to a younger person, 18, 19, 20 years old, in college, trying to move off of campus, but not trying to pay, the rent, like they're trying to house hack as well? What kind of advice would you be able to give them as a broker now, who already went through that process?
Well, I would make sure that that you as a person would go and work hard to be able to get the money to be able to put down, or find the people that have the money, or be able to have somebody co-sign for you. If it's a good enough deal, somebody will co-sign for you.
That's
If
awesome.
you sign an agreement saying, "Hey, well, I'll give you part of the deal when I sell it,
That's
or
awesome.
part of the rent." It's just being creative, but making sure that the college student or person that buys these, single person or whatever it is, making sure that they uh, go and just work hard and network. Knowing people is the best thing that you can ever do. The most people that you can connect with, the better. A lot of people, when somebody says most people don't have 100 names in their database. Well, I had 100 names in my database when I was 18 years old. So, or more. I'll bet you it was more. But I mean, you have to know as many people as possible, and that's really the way to go. Just the more people you know, because sometimes that one of those people will be able to help you out in the future.
That's amazing. And even things like seller financing, right? When you're a younger kid and you don't maybe have the credit, but maybe you have the credibility and your character's there, or you have, a little bit of money. I know both of us have either, been a part of deals, or like me specifically, I've used seller financing with relationships I've built. So, another option for younger people that maybe don't have the credit
Oh
yet.
yeah, completely, 100%, dude. That's
Yeah.
huge.
What would you suggest for someone trying to start networking? Maybe they don't really know how to start meeting people. Where can they do that? What would it take?
Um, a lot of times, even if you're going to college, there are groups that meet on a daily basis or weekly basis that you can actually go, and they bring in business owners or people in to kind of talk and give you advice. So you are meeting business owners, you are meeting executives. So I mean, there's a few times where I've met a few people in college that I'm actually helping out now, and just they're helping me out too. So I've never lost their contact info, and so just get involved with groups on campus, and any events that happen, whether it be no matter what you're doing. It could be sports, basketball. It could be volleyball, beach volleyball. I played a lot of beach volleyball in college, so I just got to know different people, my opponents and everything. They're your opponents for that an hour and a half, but you both could benefit.
Because I know your story, I know that you just got done buying a commercial building. What was that process like? What has it taught you? And maybe, going forward, how can other people be a part of that too? Because I know you've been in commercial space as an agent for a very long time.
Correct. Yeah. So what that looks like?
Yeah, yeah. What was the place you just purchased? What does
Yep.
that look like? What are the numbers maybe on that? And what has the process taught you?
So it's my past hard work has led me up to where I could put down 60 grand on a property. And this property, it was 280,000. And the people, the owners of the property didn't want to do it anymore. And partly, I don't know what was going on. Sometimes there's issues within the 4 or 5 partnerships, whatever there is in the property. So finding those deals is huge to be able to get a good deal. But I put that money down, and it was actually a pretty simple process because I have a relationship with a banker, and I had that relationship. So he could actually vouch for me in the real estate, in the banking, in the banking industry. So the people are like, can you vouch for this person? I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of real estate under a lot of real estate ownership, more than all of our or less than all of our some of our people, some of our clients. So he said, yes, this guy's legit. He's got a whole lot of experience, and they didn't really need references because of my connection with the bank. I'm not saying everybody has that opportunity, but sometimes just me meeting a banker is huge.
And you
But
build it over time.
yeah, exactly. And sometimes you lose that relationship with that banker, so find another one. Who cares? It doesn't have to be a big deal. And so I got the deal. It took me about 3 months or so after doing environmental work and all that. And it's a single tenant making about $5,000 a month. That's their rent check. And then it's a triple net lease. So the triple net lease is they pay for their taxes, insurance, and water and everything in the property. And I just have a liability policy just for myself in case something were to happen. So it actually, that liability policy actually gives me if the building burns down or something that they can't pay their rent, I actually get paid back from the insurance company for that rental. So they pay me, the people don't.
That's
So
amazing.
it's really cool that so insurance is a great thing. Just in case, it's a just in case policy. Obviously, you don't know if you're going to use it or not, and so my expenses are the mortgage and then like a little insurance policy, so which is about 2,900 bucks a month.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so the financing on the property, you said you put 60,000 down. Is that just a basically traditional commercial loan, about 25% down?
That was actually 20% down
Okay.
because um, of my experience,
Awesome.
and they gave that if you're a new person coming into the industry, not have any experience in real estate, they look at that as a more risky loan. So then they're like, well, we don't want to give you so much debt to income or like that much of a down payment or that low of a down payment. So we want to give ourselves a little bit more cushion. So they might give you a 25 to 30%. So depending on what your experience is. So another good advice I would say is go out and get mentored by somebody, a realtor or a real estate broker or investor, whoever it is, so that you have that experience, so that you can take to the bank and say, hey, this is what I've done.
Now, I know you specifically have quite a few mentors. How have you kind of linked up with them and how much, I know how much they have influenced your life, but tell the listeners maybe how much they have and in what ways.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different people that I have. I have bankers, I have investors, I have um, uh, a lot of other a lot of other people that are in other industries that I have in my corner to say, hey, you're stupid, don't do that. And then they say, give me a reason why you're doing this. So it makes me think a lot more, and it kind of opens up into, because sometimes when you think on things and think of ideas, you're not really thinking for and you're not thinking of the right thing, because you're actually thinking with certain different parts of your brain, so that your thought process is kind of hindered. So some people, third parties might come in and be like, hey, you need to do this. This is a good idea. Take it, whether you like it or not. You can do it. You cannot do it. But just listen to your mentors. Some of my mentors are multimillionaires that built a massive system for their company, and they sometimes give me systems advice saying, hey, that if you did or worked your business this way, it could give you a lot more time in your business, so you could be home with your family, because I just have a 3-month-old baby boy, and
Congratulations.
thank you. So it kind of gives me a lot more motivation and to be able to do stuff like this.
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome. Very cool. So Wes, what are your long-term goals as an investor?
My long-term goals are obviously they change every year, but right now my long-term goals, um, my 5 to 10 year goals. So before I'm 30, late 30s, I want to be able to have I actually made this goal. So it was when I was 28 years old. I wanted to become or have $150 million in real estate investments by the time I'm 37 or 38. And so I believe I have it written down. It's by the time I'm 38, so it's 10 years. So by the time my January 30th comes around in 2028, I will have $150 million in rentals.
That's awesome,
That's
man.
amazing.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
It's awesome. Now, I know you read as much as Drew and I do. So what's your favorite business book or maybe mindset book or a book that's not necessarily real estate specific?
So that is definitely, I've posted about this a lot, is the 10X book by Grant Cardone. Some people like it or hate it, but the guy is so driven and motivated that some people hate him because of that, because he's so adamant about certain things, and he says it how it is and how it should be. And yes, some of his ways are different than what other people become successful on. Um, but I think that becoming 10 times better or doing 10 times more than what you did last year is a really good motivation for me when I'm looking at when I'm going through this book. He motivates me. It's motivation that really gets you going and gets you um, rolling in business. And why? Because it's not like, hey, yeah, I want to do this for no reason. You have a motivation. So that motivation is what gets you going in business and staying in business. So your mindset, your thoughts, the way you do business. And Grant Cardone has a really good way of getting in your head to help you get motivated and just do better for yourself.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite real estate book?
I really like so there's a few books by Robert Kiyosaki, and I mean, it's not somewhat real estate, but the cash flow quadrant.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Having that, I would say that the business side of is the real estate side. The ESBI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So business and investments and the I coordinate quadrant and the B quadrant, they're both, the real estate. So you just have the money to be able to give in to the building. So it's really cool how he explains it. And I definitely wanted to be on the right side of the quadrant and not the self-employed, the employee mindset. I wanted to be on the right side, which is the business quadrant and the investor quadrant.
That's
And
amazing.
and then he's got the other one, the tax-free wealth.
Yeah, tax-free wealth. They just did a new version of that.
Oh, really?
The 2018 tax reform. Yeah.
Yes.
So within the last year. Yeah.
I didn't look at that, but the other one was legit, and the way he does things, the thought process. Sometimes the ideas are not the same as what you would, but it gives you ideas of how to go out and do better and create different strategies to save more than what you give to the government.
And in that vein, you talked a lot about having a team. Tom Wheelwright is the one that wrote that book, right? In the Rich Dad series, which is Kiyosaki's advisor. It
Yep.
is so important to have a team, and that is an amazing book.
Yes, it is. Oh, 100%.
For sure. And what does that team look like for you? I know specifically who some of those people are. A lot of those people that are in your team are also in my team that I've used. But how does that look like, and how valuable are they to you? And where you're going, getting this multi-million, dynasty basically for yourself and your team.
Yeah, that's something that really helps me throughout my everyday. I'm talking to them constantly. One of my guys is a loan officer, and he does not need to do loans, but he is a smart dude, a smart guy that has different thought processes of investing. and he can tell you whether it's a good investment sometimes, and sometimes he's got to look more into it, and then he's got friends that he'll ask questions to as well. And so he's a loan officer, and then you got obviously your accountant, and I just had to change mine. But this guy, he's graduated with me, but he's newer in the industry, but he's got people under him and above him that are super super smart. So it's surrounding. He's a smart, very smart guy. So he's learning from the best, and I want to be able to learn from the best as well. So I'm looking for those people um, like that. So dealing with the accounting side, the loan side, obviously those two go together, and then my dad is the attorney side, and so growing up with my dad, he's always been super conservative, but you always have to have that person in your back pocket, telling you shouldn't do this. You kind of hold off, and here's why, and you listen to them and take calculated risks. So put everybody's suggestion, kind of look at that and make sure that you're making the right decision.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And Rocky, the mortgage broker you're talking about on the loan side, he has been amazing for me. He probably in my team has allowed me to make more money than anyone because he is an investor. And I know you would attest to this, finding people that are investors and specialists within the industry to add to your team is so much different than going to a local bank and just talking to a person that's only read out of a book or only produced loans and doesn't view the world the way you and I do as investors. And that's
100.
such an added bonus.
Yes.
It's such an added
Yep.
bonus. Well,
Oh
Wes,
yeah, he's worth multi-millions, and he's and his dad's, they're all just smart, and they have so much that they have to offer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Wes, we really appreciate you coming on here. A last question to you. You can add any advice you want to young people starting out, but also where can people reach out to you, talk to you if they're looking in the commercial space, if they're looking in the residential space to maybe buy property with you as an agent, or maybe they want to get a hold of you for maybe to be, to have you maybe be a little bit of a mentor to them. How can they get a hold of you, and what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so you can get a hold of me multiple different ways. You can, my Facebook, I'm always on it, and so it's Wesley James Denny is the Facebook. So Denny spelled Denney. I'm sure you guys might be able to put that on there.
Absolutely.
We'll throw it right in.
Awesome. And then my cell phone number, you guys can always text me, call me, and it's 810-358-2213. So that's another way that you can get a hold of me. But I'm busy, so if I don't answer, then yeah, you know why. But,
That's awesome.
yeah, one thing that I guess I would leave you guys with, and have all the listeners, is when I first started real estate, I was like, I wasn't going to do this because I don't need it right now, but I can do it right then and there. But it makes sense when you actually work hard and plan for the future to build your team, which is one, write down your team of people that you want to work with, the people that are smart in each and every area. That's one, which I didn't do that when I first got in, into business. And I did, and when I did, it just made a big difference in my success. So definitely meet up with people, talk to them on a regular basis, and whether you go to college or not, you just need advisors like those professors that know. So when you go to college, there's some people that are in that field that they're teaching. So my entrepreneurship professor, he is one of my the people that I would go to all the time in college because he was an entrepreneur. I asked him ideas. I said, hey, would this be viable? So it's just getting involved with that on campus, and it's been a whirlwind, and I've been so busy that I'm trying to get a system where I don't have to work as much and help people out.
That's amazing, man. That's
Make more money.
amazing.
The less time I work, the more money I make. That's what I want.
amazing. I feel a book coming on, the Denny mindset. I
That's
feel
right.
it.
100%.
All right, Wes, we really appreciate you. We know you got a busy day the rest of the day, making more deals. But we really appreciate you adding value to us and also our listeners, and really showing how you can house hack through college and you can progress the way that you have, because you have an amazing story. You're still young. You got an incredible family, great wife, great kid. And I know you add a lot of value to me on a personal level. So we really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. New episodes released every Wednesday and Friday.